Hey everybody, the Fat Man coming at you. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Shirley Temple. I want you to close your eyes for a minute, and I want you to think of a time when you have seen Shirley Temple, a photograph, maybe some little movie she was in or something. Try to imagine her in your mind, right? What color was her hair? And if you can picture it, what color were her eyes? And then my final question, how old was Shirley Temple when she died? The very first Mandela effect that I had ever heard of was Shirley Temple. For a lot of people, it's the Berenstain Bears or Berenstain or Berenstein or, but for me, what happened was I was getting breakfast one day with my wife. We were on our way. I was driving her to work, and the DJ came on the radio, and I think this was maybe around the year 2010, give or take a little. At any rate, the DJ came on the radio and wished her a happy birthday. And I was shocked. And I got, what word would I use? I hate to use the word upset because that can go in so many directions, but it was just so jarring because what I remembered was that she was the first child celebrity to be struck by tragedy. And her dying as a kid was just as famous as the sinking of the Titanic. So hearing somebody wish her a happy birthday, that she was still alive as an old woman, it literally would be like if the Titanic came to your town and it was just fine and you could go for a cruise on it, it was just very strange. And so I started talking about it, and I was like, what are they saying? Is it the anniversary of her death, or what what are they talking about? And my wife at the time was like, what are you talking about? Shirley Temple is fine. Shirley Temple is alive. And I started saying, no, Shirley Temple died as a kid. That's not what my wife remembered. Um, it it was just surreal for me. Again, the best example I can come up with is, imagine telling people that the Titanic sank and everybody's just acting like you're crazy. So, at the time, I asked everybody I knew about Shirley Temple. I'd just say, do you remember Shirley Temple dying as a kid? All of them, 100% of them said no. They'd never heard of that. So I thought that was really weird. And then I don't know, I think it was a couple years later when I started people asking if Nelson Mandela had died in prison in the 80s, or or the alternative. And I was like, hey, this reminds me of that Shirley Temple thing. And then we started to hear more and more Mandela effects, like, how do you spell Berenstain Bears or whatever? Which I should probably do a different video about that for my thoughts on that. But and then I think it was yesterday on Facebook, there's a Mandela group I belong to, and they started talking about what color was her hair? Because somebody found a photograph of her when she was, I would say, in her 20s. And she had dark brown hair and dark brown eyes. And that really disturbed them because they thought she had like real light blonde hair, like platinum blonde, and real light blue eyes, like an ice blue, you know. And I told him that actually what I remembered was Shirley Temple had red hair, kind of like Little Orphan Annie. I remember when I was young, I would watch reruns of old TV shows with my grandma, and I would get confused by certain things. And one thing I was confused about, and I couldn't tell you now how old I was I thought that Shirley Temple might have been Lucille Ball. And I thought Shirley Temple was just her stage name. And I thought, you know, the little red-haired girl that was famous grew up to become the red-haired woman who was famous, you know. And my grandma was the one at the time who's like, no, Shirley Temple died. She never grew up. They're different people. So yeah, this is a big one for me. But yeah, so in the Facebook group, all of a sudden, and I've just felt alone for years about people remembering the Shirley Temple thing. All of a sudden, just there was a ton of people in that group who all thought Shirley Temple died as a kid. And the weird thing is, I mentioned the same concept in the same group maybe a year ago, and I was all alone. Nobody stepped forward. Nobody was like, yeah, that's what I remember, you know. Interestingly enough, you know, I think I mentioned earlier, my wife, when I told her about the Shirley Temple thing, she didn't like the Mandela effect at first. And she believes in it now. My kids believe in the Mandela effect because now they've seen it. And I can't think of what their examples are, but they play some video games and stuff that I don't play and I'm not familiar with. My son, who is Little Boy on this channel, you know, Fat Man and Little Boy, my son has mentioned something about the Halo games. There's something wrong with Master Chief. That is not how he remembers the games going. That's like his favorite video game that he grew up with was Halo. At any rate, let me know in the comments section, what do you remember about Shirley Temple? Or if you'd prefer, what's just a big Mandela effect in your life, if you have any? Maybe you've never heard of the Mandela effect before. Maybe I should have done a different video that kind of explains it for people who this might be their first encounter with it. But whatever the case may be, I always like hearing other people's perspectives. So let me know your thoughts. If you could hit like and subscribe, that just really helps the channel out. There was a time when YouTube sent me a message that basically said, if you don't have enough followers, you know, it's not worth our time for you to take up space on our servers. So yeah, hitting like and subscribe and comment and all that stuff really lets us stay here and lets us have a conversation about this stuff. So thanks for everything. I hope you guys have a good week. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.